Reach out and touch faith. 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 Your own personal Jesus.
What's up, everyone? Today we were talking about the best PvP builds for the dual pistols. Now I do want to preface a few things before we get into it. One, we are focusing as like a main weapon for the dual pistol. So for all my arena homies who all they do is they use every weapon out there, do not be alarmed by this. This is under the assumption that for a normal server, most players are not able to get full weapons, especially if it's merciless, and use them at all times. This is under the assumption that you're going to have the dual pistols as a weapon and then maybe 1 to 2 additional weapons with it. That's what we were structuring this build as. It's either pure dual pistols or having a couple weapons with it. Obviously, if you're on the arena server, my highest recommendation is honestly to learn how to weapon swap with every weapon, because the best players do it and that's what you're competing against. But with that aside, I want to go ahead and hop into it. We're going to be covering 2 builds for this video. One is a bit more well-rounded universal build that can be used for a lot of situations. The other is definitely more focused on dueling, though it could be used in open world as well. But you're going to have to be a bit more skillful with how you implement the abilities on it. So we're going to go ahead and cover first the pistol abilities themselves for those who don't know, and then we'll hop into the 2 builds I recommend for PvP. Now first, we're going to showcase the pistols. So these are their auto attacks. 1, 2, 3, just like any. 1, 2, 3. I am trying to move in between shots. You cannot move in between the shots. You are stationary, and they travel a good little distance. For the Q, it is called Fan the Hammer. You fire 10 bullets in a cone over 1.5 seconds. Each bullet deals 25% physical damage and knocks the target back. So this is what it looks like. Is kind of like a spear cube, except it's a bit more spread out and you can turn as you use it. You can watch here as I kind of fan around, so it can follow players as well. And then the E is Explosive Bullet. Perform a dodge roll followed by firing an explosive bullet dealing 25% physical damage. The bullet explodes after 3 seconds, dealing 125% physical damage in the area and knocking the nearby enemies back. So the first thing to note is the roll portion of this ability. You roll and then you shoot a shot. The roll portion is an iframe dodge. You have to time it properly, but it is a dodge that you can dodge abilities with. But this is what it looks like. You roll and fire. The roll can be in any direction, any direction around you. So you don't have to go forward or necessarily backwards. You can go to the side and then aim in a completely different direction if you so wish. Now, going into the first build that we're going to be showcasing is going to be Veil of Storm, Discharge, and Lightning Curtain. Typically, you'll run this with either Rogue or Warrior Blood. Pistol builds are best by focusing on the autos. This is a unique weapon that you get 3 fast shots off that deal a decent amount of damage, and you aren't limited by range or just the one-shot capabilities that the crossbow has. A one shot, I mean, that performs one shot basically before something happens that you're no longer firing with, right? This one, you're going to have mid-range, and you want to take advantage of that, keeping a mid-range distance, and this is going to enable it. Veil of Storms is the best dash for pistols, in my opinion. Obviously, if you're doing different play styles, whatever, maybe Veil of Chaos is better for the double dash, but otherwise, Veil of Storms is nice as you get a 20% increased attack speed for 4 seconds, and then your next primary attack deals extra damage and all the stack and all that. But the big thing with this, beyond playing off the static, is the fact that when you dash, you now have a faster attack speed to get your 3 shots off quicker. Now, Moving on from the dash, we're going to be running discharge. As you guys might have seen in the beginning footage, is a counter. You block melee and projectiles, attacks up for 1.5 seconds. You turn in material and travel to the cursor location when the attack is blocked. Passing through the enemy deals 50% magic damage, inflicts static, and launches the target in the air for 3 seconds, as you guys saw at the beginning. So you'll launch them in the air, and then off of that, you can combo off of other abilities or reposition. There is the jewel, as you guys saw, that I was able to get 2 travels off after I get hit, and that can allow you an open world to really getting distance away from the enemies or chase easier. If you're chasing someone in a mob, they're far away and the mob is here, you can bait the mob, get hit for the counter, and then travel up quickly and catch up to people. So it really plays in the mobility that you're looking for with this build. And this also goes in the lightning curtain. You summon a curtain of lightning that blocks projectiles for up to 3 seconds. You inflict static and periodically deal 25% magic damage to enemies that pass through the effect. Applies a fading haste, increasing movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds to allies that pass through. So this is what it looks like, and like I said, you get this little movement speed when you pass through, and it blocks projectiles. So this is really good as you are mid-range. You'll be fighting here, so you can pop this down and kind of fight around it, dodge around, fight, get your shots off, and then when it's down, you have the secondary. It's basically, for those who are familiar with like your barrier counter builds from before, it's very similar to that. This one just focuses on static so that you can get the extra damage, because you will want a little bit extra damage on this build since you're focusing on these abilities, and so this allows you to get a bit of the static damage off as well, and it's just very strong for being able to phase, get autos off, and kind of just play around. In open world, I like this build a lot because fights get more sporadic and chaotic. Having the ability to reposition with the discharge, cover a huge area if it's multiple players, to kind of block off this side as you fight someone so that others can attack you while you're fighting one person. It really just helps in those dynamics. Now, I did mention for these builds, both of these builds are going to run the same 2 extra weapons, in my opinion, and we'll get into that. The first is going to be the Greatsword. I think the Greatsword does a great job. It's primarily for the Q that you're using this. The dual pistols don't have a great engage. And this build, only lockdown is if you hit your discharge, or you get hit with discharge and then knock them up. That's the only real lockdown. So having the Q from the Greatsword is nice because it's a huge gap closer. And you can kind of jump forward and it'll knock them up. You'll deal a good chunk of damage, and it kind of helps you kind of keep pace. So you kind of go forward, and then if you need to, you can roll faro and like just keep on top of enemies if you want. Or after you engage, so you can go in like this, and then after you engage, you can go back and take a shot and just have them knocked up. And then you roll back, get a shot off. It's going to almost guarantee you get your explosive bullet off by the time you roll back. Unless they dash, you'll get your bullet off, and then that's just a huge chunk of damage, and they're locked down, and you're following them, right? So that's an easy combo. And I also like axes with this because both of these E's, this is kind of a mobility, a bit of iframe. This is like a pure iframe. So this one gives you just a bit more aggression, long range, to be able to focus on your E like that and get and incapacitate. You incap them into some autos, or incap them into the barrage. There's a lot of options, right? But that's the first build I like a lot. Again, it kind of plays around with these abilities, really good at lockdown, really high mobility and quick attacks, and I like this one a lot. I've been using this one a lot on arenas and open world. This next build is it's a 1v1 build only. You don't want to run this in any group environment. If you're running duos or trios or anything like that, would not recommend it. If you're running solos open world, it can be very, very strong, and especially also on dueling servers, it's very strong. So for that, that's what this build is more focused on. And what you're going to be running, same thing as before. This one is less focused on pure pistols and is more of a greatsword plus pistol build. And the reason why I say that is you'll see when I get into the explanation. So we still rock the Veil of Storm for the dash, the increased attack speed, and then we're also going to run Blood Rage, which will heal nearby allies for 40% of your spell power, and increases your attack speed by 25% and movement speed by 15%. And then we'll also run Power Surge. It'll boost a target or ally or self, increases movement speed by 25%, attack speed by 25%, and physical attacks inflict ignite for 4 seconds. So it's a lot of movement speed and attack speed, which is why it's good in solos open world or in arenas. You'll probably run this with a Rogue Blood, or if you want a little bit more damage, you can run it with Warrior Blood. Now let's kind of talk about why. In total, with the movement speed and then the 2 attack speeds, you're going to have a 95% attack speed from all this. That is a huge amount of attack speed. And this is what you're going to be looking to do with that attack speed. Because you're either going to be focusing on mid-range with the dual pistols. If you want, you can pop these, pop, and then get quick shots off as you pace. Or the greatsword hits like a truck, but it's very slow. So the other option is to go in and watch how much faster those are. Like, look how much faster that is, right? It's 95%. That is a great deal faster that you're just bamming them with. So you can look to fight off of that, and then use your pistols to disengage and get some poke damage. Ideally, let's just say you do commit with the Q, right? So you pop your stuff, you go in, you go engage, auto, and then you roll out, and then you fight from a distance again until your cooldowns are back up. The big important thing with this when you're fighting people is if they have a barrier or a counter, you really have to bait it. You can't just blind engage with this build, because if they have those, this is the auto attack focus build. Your main focus is to use your abilities to allow you to auto attack a lot and then kite away in between, right? So you're gonna have to bait. The best way to bait is to bait with the greatsword Q. I'll show the greatsword as itself, and you'll see when you cast the Q, you see there's a glow in the sword. That's an indicator to your opponent that the sword Q is coming. Now you can cancel this, so you have to do it fast, and you can see I can start and can cancel this. If you get really good with the timing, you can go a bit longer than I'm willing to go here. That's about the limit there, right? But you can really bait, because they'll see a big indicator. Oh my god, the sword's glowing. In their mind, even subconsciously, if they've been fighting against great swords, they know what that means. So you pop that, bait their abilities, and then you can actually engage. Or, after you fight and everything, you can use this to knock them back some, and then kind of have a disengage. And in open world, I mean, you are moving around. This is with 0% blood. Now imagine rogue blood. You are bobbing and weaving and mobile as heck. So you have, again, 95% attack speed bonus. You have 40% increased physical power if you get the proper gems and with blood rage, because there are gems that you can get for power surge and your veil of storms and everything and blood rage that you can get up to a 40% increased physical damage from that. And then up to 50% increased movement speed that you can have. So you are just flying around. You're spam auto attacks with greatsword. Then in out of range, you'll use your pistol. Bait the greatsword Q if you need to. And then your main damage is from autos with the greatsword. With rogue, you can hit for crits with 85, and on pistol autos. So there's a lot of nice combos, but this is another heavy auto attack focused build. That's what a lot of these pistol builds are going to be about. And yeah. I like both builds. I think it kind of just depends on what I'm fighting against, if I'm in open world or not, if I'm in duos or not. We'll kind of swap around, but those are the two best, pistol-focused PvP builds I've seen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe, and follow me at twitch.tv/Redlaf, where I am streaming this game all the time. And with that, I'll catch you all later. Peace out.